Good morning, Quadcopter 101, and I have something really different for you today. This is the JJRC H40WH. What is the H40WH? It is a flying tank. Okay, it looks kind of heavy, and it is kind of heavy. I believe it weighs out at 379 grams. So don't expect to be doing acrobatics with this particular quadcopter. But I was flying around my home last night. It is good for short hops. That's what you probably want to do. You want to stay close to the ground with this thing because of its weight. You don't want this falling on anybody. And if it falls from high, it likely might break, because of its weight. It looks and feels like a brick. But what's neat about this quadcopter, it automatically transitions from a tank to a quadcopter. The arms actually have motors that extend the arms out by themselves. You don't have to pull them out and extend them yourselves. And also this turret, it has a Wi-Fi Fpv transmitter on it, so you can view what it's seeing while either on the ground or in the air. And this turret moves right and left, so you can look to the right, look to the left with this. If you're using, particularly if you're using this as a tank, being able to look right and left while going along is pretty darn cool. Let's go over other features of it. Again, I've got to mention, this extends itself. Don't try to pull these out and extend them, because in the directions it says, they pull them out and extend them to the right. You don't. This has motors. There's motorized extensions, so don't even try to do that. I was confused at first. I was pulling on these things going, why aren't they extending? Because it's automatic, okay? And I wish they would state that in the directions, that it's automatic extension. There's a button that you press on the controller to do such. Again, here is the turret. This turret is a 2.4 gigahertz Wi-Fi FPV transmitter with a 0.3 megapixel camera. This turret does turn right or left. This is a motorized gimbal on this to turn the view right or left, particularly while you're driving along in tank view. If you want to look right or left, if you're flying around, that's right or left look. Just fly the quadcopter while it's in quadcopter mode, right or left to look right or left. Other features about it: it has a 1200 milliampere hour JJRC battery inside here, 2S battery. It's a common battery. JJRC uses these for other quadcopters, so these are widely available spare batteries for this. And also, it is using brushed quadcopter motors. And finally, it has, you can fine-tune the turning of the front wheels. The front wheels are what turn this. They're not very proportional, I'll give you that. So, but you can center their position with this here, and it does have an on-off switch. Going over the controller, first off, you get a phone holder because it is an FPV flyer. It uses the JJRC app. The buttons on it, this button up here is for rates, and for air to ground mode. If you want to switch to air, between air and ground mode, you hold this button down for 5 seconds, and that'll extend or retract the helicopter arms, the quadcopter arms. This is for flips. I do not recommend even trying to do flips with this thing. It's just too big, too heavy. I know it's going to end in disaster and burn out motors too. So it can do it, but I don't recommend doing it. You got an emergency stop here, and you got takeoff here for stopping the motors and taking off the motor, or doing a takeoff, automatic takeoff. And this is for your turret. Move the turret right or left. And this is for headless mode and 1-key return. Okay, turret, headless mode, 1-key return. And these are just trim buttons over here. And these two buttons here are inoperative. Okay, let's fire this up, see how it performs. Hope you enjoy this flight / drive. Turning on the /tank / quadcopter. And turning on the transmitter, binding it with up or down movement. Okay, the red lights are solid. It has red lights in the back that are solid, and white lights in the front that are also solid. Let's see here, it goes forward. Okay, I'm going to turn on the Fpv app, and then we'll get started. Okay, this is the JJRC app, and we're going to hit connect, and we should have FPV view here shortly. And there's our FPV view. And I'm going to be hitting record. Again, this only has a 0.3 megapixel camera. Okay, let's get it going forward. Like I said, it's not very proportional steering, but it does work. I'm trying to stay up with it. I want you to see it. It does Little rolls around, then it does that. Now, say you're using this as a surveillance vehicle. And you get to this position here. You can move that turret right or left. Again, I said I'm going to move the turret left, pressing the button and turn, and it's moving to the left, as you can see there. How far does it go? I'm curious. It's pretty far. We'll just keep turning the turret, turning the turret, turning the turret. My goodness, I think it might be able to do 360 degrees, or at least 180. Will it do 180 degrees? No, right about there. So that's about, I guess, 145 degrees or so. And centering the turret back again. You want to center that turret because it has a long antenna on it, and you don't want to get that entangled in the propellers. We're going to go into flight mode here next. Moving the turret back. Centering it. And now, okay, that's about center. And now we're going to extend the blades, pressing down the button here and holding it down for 5 seconds. And look at that. It automatically extends itself. And it is ready to go. Okay, let's send it up in the air and see how it flies. And, oh yeah, you got to take off. Hit the takeoff button and there it goes. Now it does have altitude hold. And off it goes. Send it through the goalpost. Now I would not recommend sending this out far or high. But dang, that is such a cool... It flies. I can't believe it. That thing's 349 grams. And it flies very well. Going through the goalpost again. And coming down. Yeah, I recommend keeping it close to the ground though, folks. It does fly, and it flies very well. I'm surprised. Let's go to higher rate. No, I'm going to keep it low rate because I know that is going to shorten the flight time. Surprising. Okay, let's bring it in for a landing. Not in the water, not in the water. There we go. And changing it back to car mode. Oh, here's one thing you need to know about, folks. These blades, when you go back to car mode, make sure these blades are clear of the structure. I remember that from yesterday. Otherwise, they will jam themselves. Let's make sure that they weren't hurt. They will jam themselves against the structure. Doing automatic takeoff again. No, they weren't hurt. I got a wind from my back here, and it's flying in that wind good. But again, yeah, I recommend staying about this altitude, actually, because that is so heavy. There's my wife and dog over there. Let's go over there that way. Coming back. Such a neat, this is one of the neatest things I've seen in a while. It's fast. And remember, since it's so heavy, be careful. If you smack yourself with this thing, it's going to hurt. Coming back. H40WH. Okay. Now the lights on it, they do blink at LVC. And if you do see them blinking, I recommend landing, because this thing, when it runs out of battery power, it will drop like a rock. I've seen another reviewer review this. I watch this reviewer every once in a while. I'm going to mention him, the Bloomberg Mickey. He seems to get these before anybody else, you know. I think he's in China, actually. He gets early reviews of these things. And he was flying it at LVC. I saw that because his lights were blinking. And his came down like a rock. So you got to be careful about that. Okay, let's land this thing here. and go back to driving it. Okay, again, remember, make sure the blades are clear, and then let's transition. And let me stop the video that I've recorded so far and start it up again. And let's go down the road a bit. Yeah, it's kind of hard to steer this thing. I got to mention that. It's not super proportional steering. And I'm steering with the right stick here, if I didn't mention that. I'm using the right stick, and the throttle is the left stick. Oh, the lights blink while it's recording. Notice the light blinking on the camera? So you know you're recording. You're in recording mode. It's more fun as a flyer. Let's move the turret right. Looking to right. Okay, looking left. Centering the turret again. Going back to air mode, because that was more fun. Back in air mode. Take off. And it does automatic takeoff. It just bounces around close to the ground, and we'll fly the rest of this in air mode. Go out around the pool there. But yeah, I recommend staying close to the ground with this thing, because it is heavy. And again, if it came down hard, it's going to break something. Ooh, there goes a raven. I ain't gonna chase him with this. Again, I want to stay close to the ground. Okay, no blinking lights. Still got a lot of flight power on it. Again, I was doing transitioning between copter mode and tank mode. Let's take up the rates. Higher rate. There's its funnels. There's a tank doing funnels. Can you believe it, folks? I will attempt one flip. Let's go over the grass area here. One flip. No, not enough power to do flips. So that means we're probably getting low now. It's trying to land itself. That might be telling me that it's getting low. Yeah, it is getting low on battery power. So we will call it quits at this point. Here, see the lights are flashing? When you see those lights flash, and it starts to get, it starts to descend, you have to get more and more battery power, it's time to call it quits, folks. So that's the end of the flight. I'm going to call it quits at this point. I don't want to drop in from the sky like it did for Bloomberg Mickey. We know that's the end of the flight, and stopping the recording. So, this is the JJRC H40WH. Very interesting, I think it was kind of neat, actually. New quadcopter / tank. So hope you enjoyed this flight. This is Quadcopter 101, signing out.